This morning, Khenpo Rinpoche give the insightful meaning of teachings. Basically, this kind of teaching is called the Vajra song. Vajra song mean expression of the realization through the practice. So when they practitioner, when they have a realization, their own experience, they express, poemly they express. So that is called the Vajra song. In the India, most of the time they use as a doha, which is mean that actually I heard that later I heard this just mean the song, but Vajra song is based on the practitioner's experience, they express and sing with the melody, and that is become a Vajra song. That is basically is a kind of like a fruit, okay? Like final is a fruit, So when we plant the tree, it come with a sprout, and become a bush, and it starts slowly have a leaves, flower, and final result is a fruit. So this is a Vajra song is a fruit of a practice. When you practicing, and they have a different degree of realization, different degree of experience through that kind of a realization, and they expressing. So that way, this is mostly is about result, but that result is not come just through wishing, or not just come through the supplicating, or not just come through the praying. You have to go to step by step. You have to follow with the path. So in the Buddhism, we divide it into two. The realization, there's two different type of realizations. One is called the instantaneous realization, and another one is called the gradual realization. But some people think instantaneous realization mean you don't need to go gradually. What is different, those two, is a person many lifetime already gone through the gradually, and that person in this life, when they meet with a favorable condition, then instantaneously they have a realization without going gradually. But still, instantaneous one have to be graduate. One is a quicker one is a slower one. So gradually means the slower one, like a like a baby step. Take it like total. That's they walk slow. Toddler, or whatever. Yeah, it's a slowly going. So it's I think like a basically path is something traveling. Yeah. So like this morning in the Vajra song, Khenpo Rinpoche say it's like horse. Horse is a symbol of a transportation. So path is the transportation. So where you going is a Buddhahood. So there's a two path, one quick path, one slow path. But both destination is the same. Destination, distance is the same. It's just like same as one person fly in the airplane, one is taking a car. If you drive from here to California, it's going to take like 5-6 days. If you fly only 4 or 5 hours. But covering the ground is exactly the same. You fly or you drive. Same amount of ground you fly, cover. But one is more skillful, that way paths quicker. Make sense? One is a kind of like not that much skillful, that way path is slower. So that way, sometimes in the Sutra said, path is kind of graduate path, and Vajrayana is a kind of a quick path. So because of the skill, it's different. So that way, these two instantaneous, but instantaneous also graduate, because even if it's really quick, really fast, some airplane, I think like some of those jet, they can get to California maybe like within the 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Some of them so fast can fly. But no matter how fast you goes, you have to be gradually. You gradually fast, but really fast gradually. One is a slow gradually. Make sense? So it's just that way. In the Buddhism, the path is always be gradually. Either way, you can get to the fast gradually or slow gradually. So what does it gradually mean? That you have to follow to all those steps. So this morning, Khenpo Rinpoche give you all the insightful of the meaning of what does bodhicitta mean, how to. Now, today, the afternoon, I will help you to, I give you the menu. I give you the menu. He give you the car. Now I give you the menu to how to make the car. You know, not just only fix, how to make the car. So that is what it means the gradually. Make sense? So when come to the practice in the Digunga tradition, doesn't matter in the Vajrayana Tibetan Buddhism traditions, there are sudden graduate. Everyone is the same. It's called the preliminary practice. Common preliminary practice, uncommon preliminary practice. Common preliminary practice will come later on the calling far from the Lama, you know, in that prayer, it comes. So we will cover during that time. But like Khenpo Rinpoche this morning talk actually on those subjects, you know, meditating on the precious human life, meditating on the impermanent, meditating on the faults of samsara, meditating on the karma. So what does meditation mean? Meditation means just absorbing on that, comprehending, yeah, comprehensively absorbing, and gradually you become that one. So that is what does a meditation mean. It's not like without thinking, stop thinking, then you meditate or something. We're not familiar. Something not familiar, make familiar through the practice. So how to make that familiar practice of the bodhicitta? First of all, today's subject is about the bodhicitta. So first we need to go to preparation. Preparation is called the foretraining of the mind. You know, I think particularly in the bodhicitta, generally, you need all these four subjects, the foretraining of the mind, meditation on the four subject, and particularly, you must absorb carefully or deeply about the faults of samsara. If you don't understand the faults of samsara, you will never have a genuine bodhicitta. Make sense? So I think this reason. Because if you don't have a sense of you need to liberate sentient beings, there's no reason to generate a bodhicitta. Make sense? You generate a bodhicitta because you have a sense of, oh, I need to help them. What makes you think that way is because you know the faults of samsara, suffering of samsara. Make sense? Lots of people don't want to think about the suffering of samsara because they have enough suffering. But if you really want to get over from that suffering, what you experience in now, think about the suffering. Because without the thinking about the suffering, you will never get over from that suffering. Make sense? Avoiding is not solution. So if you want to be free from that, whatever misery going on in your life right now, whatever unsatisfied going on in your life, you have to think about that. When you think about that, you will find the solution. Without the thinking about that, you will never find the solution. So thinking about it actually healthier than not thinking about it when you have suffering. Make sense? Through that thinking about the suffering of the samsara, then we can have an authentic, genuine bodhicitta. So also this bodhicitta, I think if you have a book, this one, look, this is a really good book for menu for the gradually how to practice. So we're going to go through the little bit about the chapter 2, page 23. This is actually Digung Kagyu traditions menu about how to go through how to practice the five path of Mahamudra. This is menu. This is not so detailed like a jewel ornament, but also not so brief like just want to sadhana. This have a really good information that enough to busy people. Just enough information. So not too many. So here I will to reach the first few lines. This is called the uncommon preliminary practice. There's 4 different uncommon preliminary practice. Refuge 1, Vajrasattva 2, Mandala 3, Guru Yoga 4. So okay, we read here, page 23 said, reciting the uncommon preliminary practice are the instruction on going for refuge, the accomplishment of the which make one's mind stream suitable container for the teachings. Okay, when we're talking about the precious human life or working basis, in the jewel ornament is used as a working base. You need the working base. Yeah, like when you build something, you need the base to build that one. So Dharma, working base, is a precious human life. Okay, so in the jewel ornament, they divide it into 2. Body as a precious human life of the leisure and endowment, mind as a with the 3 devotions, 3 faith, yeah, vivid faith, eager faith, trust in faith. So that is a working base of the body and mind. A body alone cannot practice, mind alone cannot practice. Body and mind have to come together to practice. Lots of people said, oh, most important is the mind. It's not true. Body must train. So that way, like she does the yoga. Yoga is actually part of the exercise for meditation. Because at a certain point, your mind doesn't work. Then through the body exercise, mind bring on the side or the right track. Make sense? So, so that way body and mind have to be together, combination to practice. That is called meditation, have to go to both need. So what is the base of the body mean? Talking about the precious human life of the leisure endowment. And mind is a 3 faith, vivid faith, eager faith, trust in faith. So how we generate that faith? You only generate that faith if knowing of the quality of the precious 3 jewels. If you know that what is the Buddha, make sense? If you know the quality of the Buddha, then you have sense of, I want to become a Buddha. That is called the eager faith. The knowing of the Buddha's quality is called the vivid faith. Then Buddha give us menu how to become a Buddha. It's called the trust in faith. So following with that menu, because we've never been on that path. If you cannot trust, you will never follow with that path. So need those 3. Vivid faith mean the knowing of the quality. Eager faith means once you know the quality, you have an eager to, I want to become like that. I want to become like Buddha. If you know that what is a Buddha, how he become Buddha, what mean the Buddha, then you will have this, have kind of eagerness or, oh, I wish to be like that. Who doesn't want to be like Buddha? Free mind, free spirit, totally free from all those mundane headache, conflicts. Who doesn't want that? I mean, this morning, Kenji said, who doesn't wish to be free from suffering? Doesn't matter you are following to the religion or not. So, so this reason, knowing of the quality of the three jewels, particularly quality of the Buddha, then we develop the faith. Make sense? So without the faith, you are not suitable to practice Dharma. Because if you look the many teaching, they said, don't give teaching to the, condition of the giving teaching to someone who are suitable to receive it, must have that faith. If you give the teaching to somebody who doesn't have the faith, you become a false giving teaching. So if you, I'm sure you heard this one. It's called the free from six stain. Yeah, Dharma teaching free from six stain. Six stain. One of those six is called the not have faith. So if that one of those stain exists on that receiver, you're not allowed to give the teachings. Why? Because if you try to, like, if you go to, somebody really strong other religion follower, and you try to push that person to Dharma, what's going to happen? You make more the anger. You make them more angry, upset. Yes. So you're feeding their anger. And you're not helping. Dharma means the help. So you don't want to do that. You don't want the person who create other people more negative emotion. Make sense? So the reason Dharma is not allowed to give to somebody who have no faith. So one of the suitable vessel to receive the teaching is a faith. So through the practice of knowing of the three jewels, practice of the refuge, it helps us to develop, strong faith on the Dharma, on the karma, on the Buddha teaching, on the three jewels. And then we become suitable vessel to receive the teachings. So this reason in the Buddhism. Excuse me. In the Buddhism, we said distinguishing Buddhism and non-Buddhism is refuge. If you not take refuge, then you not become. So that way, first instruction on the refuge is that one. Then second one said, meditation on the mantra recitation of the Vajrasattva, which purify the negative action and obscurations. So if we look at our history of our life, there's a countless of life happen. There's no beginning. So during those period of time, we definitely created good karma, but same time also we did lots of bad karma too. So how we can get rid of those bad karma is through the purification. And also you can experience it when you're meditating, you have really not have a concentration, you have really difficulty to meditating, you have really difficulty to, like concentrating. Lots of those things is caused by the negative karma. Too much negative karma can be created to difficulty to meditate. So sometime actually there's a meditation, there's basically two different type of can say obscuration, yeah, agitation and dullness, yeah. Yes. Yeah. And the dullness also, there's two different type of actually either one. Is one is called the singing mind, one is called the I think dullness. So one basically is a kind of like a physically, yeah, sleepy, kind of like a not really awareness of it's just become at that time you have physical conditions, so you need to refresh by drinking like a cup of coffee or something that refresh. But sometimes not really physically dullness, but mentally kind of darkness comes. Don't feel anything, kind of like a go to darkness. You're not falling asleep, but a kind of like a not feel anything, that is mostly is a sinking mind. So at that time is so better to stop meditating and do the accumulation of merit through the circumambulation, through the prostration, and different type of accumulation merit to purifying that negative karma. So there's a certain time, this kind of negative will causing us to difficult to continue meditation. So that way, even we don't have a knowledge about we make mistake, but still many lifetime we created this negative karma. So through the Vajrasattva can purify it. Why using Vajrasattva as a purification? Because Vajrasattva make the commitment to purifying the sentient beings' negative karma. And all the 5 Dhyana Buddha offering him, some Buddha offering him an ornament, some Buddha offering him palace, some Buddha offering him, different crown and earring. These things offering those 5 Buddha, and that way, Vajrasattva is the embodiment of all the Buddhas. So that is like the Vajrasattva practice is like compounded of all the Buddha. That reason we use a Vajrasattva for the purification. So otherwise, all Buddha are same. All Buddha have the same quality. But because of the Vajrasattva's earlier few years, when he was in Bodhisattva path, he make the commitment, vow, that he want to become a Buddha that can purify all the negative karma. There's each Buddha, they make a commitment. One Buddha said, I want to become a Buddha, that way I can heal everyone. And one said, I want to become a Buddha, that way I can give them wisdom, support. So Vajrasattva is a Buddha of the purifications, because the Vajrasattva is the embodiment of all the Buddha. One, and also Vajrasattva is we use as a 6th family. 6th family means that all the Buddha 5 Buddha family compounded become the 6th one. So that reason using Vajrasattva as a purification. We purify, there's no negative that cannot purify through the Vajrasattva mantra. In the Vajrasattva Tantra said, if one pointed mindly, if you recite 100,000 syllable, 100,000, 100 syllable, 100,000, even the heinous crime can purify it. Because of this quote, later it became 100,000 tradition, like 100,000 refugee, 100,000 mandala, this because of that. So this Vajrasattva Tantra said, if you recite the Vajrasattva mantra 100,000 with a 1 point delay, even the heinous crime can be purified. So that reason for the purification, we're using as a second as a Vajrasattva. I try to go fast. Instruction on the mandala offering, which perfect the 2 accumulations. So when we offer mandala, we accumulate the merit. Mandala means the universe. All the visible, your body, inner mandala means your body. Outer mandala means all the universe, whatever mountain, tree, house, whatever beautiful things you can arrange in there, or offering. Then secret mandala means the union of what called the bliss and emptiness. And ultimate mandala means the meditation on the Mahamudra. So there's basically 4 type of a mandala. Outer mandala as a whatever physically you can arrange, you can offering that one. Inner mandala as your own body. Sacred mandala as a union of the wisdom and method. And the ultimate mandala as a meditation on the suchness or Mahamudra. So through this offering of the mandala, we accumulate the merit. Then that accumulation of a merit with the kind of free from 3 spheres is becoming wisdom. So 2 accumulations. Then the meditation on the Guru Yoga, the intense into the receipt of the blessings. So Guru devotion is the path to receive the blessings. Lots of time, like people who practicing karma biting or vipassana, when your meditation is a struggling, when your meditation is a struggling, you should go back to the Guru Yoga, do more Guru Yoga. Because realization of that, like this morning, Khenpo was talking about the emptiness. Realization of the emptiness, there's two main causes. Realization of emptiness. Your own accumulation of a merit and Guru's blessing. This is a saying by Vajra song. I think Saraha. I think this is Saraha said. Ultimate co-emerge wisdom is a through the purification of the negative karma by accumulating the merit and realize Guru's blessing. There's no other condition that can have a realization of the emptiness.
Realize or receive?
No, realize Guru's blessings. Realize it. Somebody have a realization. Yeah, realize it, Guru. You understand what? Yes, Guru have attainment, yes. Yeah, so Guru with attainment. Because if Guru have no attainment, there's no blessings, can give. Like a mountain, the Rocky Mountain, if there's no snow, no matter how sunshine, there water not come. Only water come if there's a snow on the Rocky Mountain. So that way have to. So these four called the uncommon preliminary practice. I think earlier, like a Milaraba's time, there's no separately this practice. Because this all practices within the sadhana, like Chakra-sambhavara sadhana, if you look, you will find all this common and uncommon preliminary practice within the Chakra-sambhavara sadhana. But then I think like we have a really bad habit, what our habit is, we like a beginning of the practice, we just rush. Recite them, blah, 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 blah. Then when get to the mantra, then relax, then try to meditate. So that is a really bad habit. Actually, you should meditate from the beginning, from the refuge too. I think I think I saw Khenpo Rinpoche doing that one. When come to the Om Subha, the Sarvatama Subha, Khenpo Rinpoche make a rest a little bit there, meditate. So I never saw anyone doing that one. So supposed to be, you have to take refuge, meditate. You have to take immeasurable, meditate. You have to do this all step by step, kind of like same, share the same time. And actually, if you're doing the 4 sessions, maybe morning mostly is focus on the preliminary practice. Like retreat, mostly is a focus on the preliminary practice. And the second session is mostly focus on the generation stage, like how to visualize the deity, focus mostly on that. And third session is mostly focus on the recitation of the mantra. And the third session and fourth session, mostly focus on the conclusion, dissolution. Yeah, one day, normally when in the retreat, 1 day retreat, we do the 4 sessions. If you do the 4 sessions, they should do that way. Then they become a really good 4 sessions. What we do is every session, we rush to the mantra. Then because we want to show the people, I have done 100,000 this recitation. I have done this, we are rushing to the certificate. Only need the certificate. So I think this reason. So these four common preliminary practice. This as in the generally Tibetan Buddhism, and but particularly the Kagyu lineage, they really emphasizing on the preliminary practice. Because what kind of a success, or can say success, I have to say practice, actually practice is depend on how you did with your preliminary. If your preliminary is rushing, rest of your practice is become a rushing. It's never become a good. So this reason, Jidit Sumgun said, others non-profound are my profound. What it means that because lots of time people say, oh, those are preliminary, beginner. I'm advanced one. I want to advance one. This is not just only West. In the Tibetan have that habit. So that reason, lots of lamas started doing this one as until you really finish to the preliminary, you're not allowed to read you're not allowed to have the text of those like Six Naropa and the Mahamudra, those teaching, never give to the public. Because many gurus said not good, helpful. Recently, actually last year, someone came to Chenga Rinpoche, said, Rinpoche, can you give me the teaching on the Tumu? And Rinpoche said, if you go through the Ngondo, I will give you. Otherwise, it's not going to helpful. And Holiness sent one monk, our senior monk, he done retreat in Tikkun tradition. And want to was sent to the Manali, there's a Drupagaji master, and received teaching from the Drupa tradition of Six Yoga of Naropa. And the master condition said, if you go through the Ngontu from the beginning, from my tradition, I will give you. Otherwise, I'm not going to give you. So I think this reason in the Kagyu tradition, this is a really kind of really careful to doing this one, because in the Kagyuba, basically called the path of the blessings. What does mean the path of the blessings? You have to, practice. Through the practice, whatever you're experiencing, then you can move on to the next stage. Like when we receive the retreat instruction, like they never give you the next one until you finish the first one. Like even the Ngondo only give you the first, only give you the portion of the mind. You have to go retreat, done retreat, and come back and you discuss with the guru. Then next chapter, like a refuge, but no further than refuge. Instruction, transmission, all those is only refuge. When you done the refuge, then you can receive the Vajrasattva. That is how, gradually give teachings. The reason is, if you rush to, then what become is a lack of realization. Just knowing of the word, you can describe, like Khenpo said this morning, like scholarly. Scholarly know everything. But when come to the practice, it is different. Because when Tibetan Buddhism have a difficulty, there one period of time it became really, really difficult. At that time, and one Tibetan king have to invite one Indian master called Adisha. So then Adisha was discussing with the one translator, Ngong Lotsawa. He's a really famous translator. He's not just kind of like a small translator. He's a historical translator. So when he discussing with this Ngong Lotsawa, and Adisha said, you have a master like him. No need me to come to Tibet. There's nothing that I know more than what he already knew. His knowledge is not worse than me, not less than me. But then finally Adisha asked him to, okay, all those like Tantra, Sutra, or everything is when to practice how we manage. And he said, you have to practice separately. Then the Adisha said, I really need to come because when you're practicing, you have to learn how to make them one body. Make sense? So that how do you can make that, one body is through the actually practice, not just only knowing. That is different. Knowing and experience. You can know lots of things, but you never learn experience until you actually practice. Make sense? So this reason we have to go to gradually on those. But today, main subject is talking about the chapter 3. If you go to page 46, called the special preliminary in their session of the meditation on the love, compassion, and bodhicitta. So why is called the special preliminary? Because Vajrayana is belong to the Mahayana. Okay, if you want to practice the Vajrayana, through the practice of the Vajrayana to want to achieve the Buddhahood, what you need? Bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the seed of a Buddha. Like if you want to plant the apple tree, you need apple seed. Yeah. You just plant the kind of like a weed seed to try to hope into the apple tree. It never going to happen. You need the apple seed. All the Buddha are embodiment of the bodhicitta. There's one Indian scholar called the Chandragiri. He said, all the hero and solitary realizer are come from the Buddha. All the Buddha come from the bodhicitta. So he said, I pay homage to the bodhicitta because the bodhicitta is a source of the Buddhahood. Make sense? So bodhicitta is the seed or the seed of the become a Buddhahood. Without the bodhicitta, no matter how high yoga tantric practice, you have no hope become Buddhahood. Adisha's one disciple. One day Adisha was having tea, and suddenly he said, "Oh, I'm really disappointed." He was really disappointed. And then that his attendant called the Domdamba, Tibetan, he asked, "What happened, master?" He said, "Oh, I have one disciple. He practicing Harya Yoga, not Harya Yoga. No. Yeah, I think Vajra. Yeah, either way. Vajra is the highest yoga tantra. Now he become arhat. So even you practice the highest yoga tantra, you cannot gain more than arhat if you don't have a bodhicitta. So reason is, what is the bodhicitta mean? The bodhicitta have a two aspect of the mind. One, wishing to become a Buddhahood. One aspect of the mind is a wishing to become a Buddha. Other aspect of the mind is a benefit of sentient beings. Those two together become a bodhicitta. So why Bodhisattva become a Buddha and Arhat not become a Buddha? Like when you reach to the Bodhisattva first bhumi, you're free from samsara, you're free from suffering. Your personal gain complete. You no longer need anything. You are free from all those miseries. But when you try to perform, try to benefit sentient beings, your quality is not good enough. That way you work hard, improve more. Make sense? So that make them Bodhisattva, the improvement bring to the Buddhahood. Because until you become Buddha, your quality is not good enough to liberate sentient beings. So that make the bodhicitta bring to the Buddhahood. If you don't have a bodhicitta and you feel like seeking to the personal nirvana, then arhat is good enough. Because when you reach to the arhat, you're totally nirvana. You're totally free from samsara. But bodhicitta is the main difference to become a Buddha or not. Make sense? So I think this reason we need a bodhicitta if you want to become a Buddhahood. Because without becoming Buddhahood, you cannot help sentient beings. Make sense? There's no other way. Even 10 women Bodhisattva, they are not independent enough to can liberate sentient beings. Even those 10 women Bodhisattva have to receive teaching from the Buddha. Like, when Shakyamuni Buddha was alive, Midriya was there, Manjushri was there, Avalokiteshvara was there, Vajrapani was there. All those 8 great Bodhisattvas are receiving teaching from Buddha. They already reached to the 10th woman. Still, they need to receive teaching from the Buddha. So that is showing us that even your 10th woman Bodhisattva, you are not good enough to liberate sentient beings independently. You have to rely on the Buddha's wisdom. Make sense? So until you not become a Buddhahood, you are not complete to benefit sentient beings. Now, how we can generate that bodhicitta? Yeah, bodhicitta, like here said, the special implemented practice of 3 sections in the meditation on the love, compassion, and bodhicitta. So first you need a love, then you need a compassion. So now we can talk about the love. Generally, we all have a love. Feeling of love is everyone have. Every sentient being have that can say feeling, that emotion. But our love is not strong enough. Damage easily, fragile easily. Some small condition, we lose that love. Lots of people, no longer have a relationship with their parent because there's an incident happen. That incident caused to the losing their love to their loved one. Why those incidents cause us to losing our love to the loved one? Make sense? Like, here example is we use as our parent. Either way, parent or anyone who are you main subject to the meditation on the love, anyone in your life. When you have a really some point you have a really strong love to that person, but then sudden point something happened. When that happened, you lose that love. Make sense? Lots of time, I'm not saying everyone happened that one. Lots of time it happened. So the reason is our reason of meditating love is not strong enough. There's need a reason, condition. So condition is not strong enough. Make sense? So that way we need to build that condition. So how we build that condition of that can stay our meditation on the love is no matter what happened, never losing. Can say like a stable. No matter what happened, you never shaking your feeling of love toward to the that individual. Forget about the every sentient beings. This is a long journey. Does it take a long time? Forget about the every sentient beings. Just we talk about the one beings in our life. You will find someone, and you have to love that person unconditionally. how you can love that person unconditionally, how you can love that person, what called the, can say undisturbed, yeah,
Without this, yeah.
indestructible way, because our love disturbed lots of time. You know, once incident happened, then you stop loving. Make sense? So I think this is a really important. So here, said from the Lord Degumba, if the seated, or this morning, Khenpo Rinpoche taught this one, is seated love or compassion does not establishing itself as an intent in the benefit others at the start of the race as a acceptance and appreciation, yeah, of the God and man will not arise. Finally, establish the mind in this right form at the beginning. So this is a little bit different translation, but same as this morning Khenpo Rinpoche read. A horse metaphor, the love and compassion, the meditation on the mind of the enlightenment of the benefit other is a symbolizing of the silk ribbon award and the winner of the horse race. Whoever is born in the bodhicitta as their mind stream will benefit every sentient being, and homage homage is paid to them by the ordinary and noble beings. This is a symbol of the bestowing the gratitude. All this poetic expression are the metaphorically symbolic. The single cause by the which Buddhahood is obtained is the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta. That is a single cause. Only one cause that can become a Buddhahood is the bodhicitta, mind of enlightenment. For this purpose, one generates the measureless compassion, love for which arise. So there's a meditation on the love. This meditation based on the visualizing one's mother in the form of front of one. Having visualizing this, consider the four kindness she has shown as a basis for meditation. So now, one's mother as a just genuinely talking about, you know, but particularly, this is I don't think so. It's talking about the mother as a biological mother only. You know, anyone who show you these four different type of kindness, that is talking about. It can be anyone in your life. So you have to think one individual give you those kindness. Anyone, you know. So think about this for, she gave a birth to one's body. She sustained one's life. She taught one what is taking up and what is abandoning. And she underwent to hardship for one's benefit. So yes, can say somebody who give you the body can be biological mother. You know, I mean, normally biological mother, but these days they are called what called this?
Birth mother.
No. There another one. Oh. Huh? Yeah, donor. There's someone like they use in the womb.
I know
Surrogate.
Yes.
Yeah, surrogate mother. So I don't know that now it's body is also given by your biological mother is also unnecessarily, not necessarily. Someone else can give you the body. Make sense? So either way, our body is a part of the parents, especially mothers, because through mothers giving birth, she losing lots of her physical strength and many things. I think, like if you look at the women, once they give the baby, they age so fast. give the birth of children, I think they age faster. So that is giving part of their essence of the body to the kids, baby. So we have to try to remember those things. And second one is, she said, she gave to the life. When we're born, we are a stranger. We know no one. But our, especially particularly mom, took care took care us, take care, yeah. Even she, take care more us than her own parent, whom she owed lots of gratitude. She put the kids are more important than her own parents. Parent, I mean, we own a lot, debt with the parents' kindness, but still the mother put the kids more important than parents. That much cherish and protect us from all kind of harms. So without that, somebody is protecting us, we have no ability to survive. I think one of the worst species is the human being. And the Malasa beings, they can survive without their parents. They don't need a parent to take care of them. They manage, but the human, no. Not just only like few years. We have to be rely on the parent for 18 years. Sometimes 40s, yeah. So that is showing us a giving life mean. Then when they give us the life, protect, and they went through under hardship. Whatever they give us, food, clothes, education, roof, it's not come easily. This is, I mean, I always tell to the monastery, to my friends, monks, when you receive the donation from anyone, don't waste it for unnecessary way. Because people who donate, they really work hard. Because sometimes in the monastery, truth is we don't know the reality about how hard people work. We live in the monastery cocoon, and we only receive the donation, so we don't know actually the reality of people's, struggling with the work. So sometimes people don't have enough information to think about like that. So I also tell people, monks, don't waste the money to unnecessary way, because people work hard to make those money. So it's not come easily. Anything, even a rich one, they really work hard. That way they make money. Nobody make money easy way, because whatever easy way to make is easy come, easy goes. So so people really work hard. So same things. Anyone who provide us food, clothes, they got those food and clothes not easy way. They went through so much hardship. Make sense? So for the children's sake, they did all those, negative karmas. Some become a butcher, some become a hunter, some become a thief, some become a liar. Try to provide the kids what they need. If necessary, a parent will do any of those negative action without a hesitation, sake of their kids. Nowadays we have a civilian camera, so you can see a lot of this kind of story. Like, parents go to steal the food from the supermarket, and they found out that they have nothing to give to the kids. That way they have to steal. So lots of people lying, lots of people do negative action like killing, stealing, those for the sake of the kids. And they actually, when they're doing that one, they what called the sacrifice this life, they sacrifice next life. This life, if you do something like that, you had a really bad reputation. You know, you become like label, thief, robber, liar. The rest of your life, people will call you that when you have done some things. Make sense? I mean, people will always seem that way. You know, when if you done one thing, something like that, that community will assume you are that person, always be that you are the person. If something happened in the community, the first thing police come to you because you have that experience. Yeah. So even that kind of dangers and hardship have to go through, but they're willing to do for the sake of the kids. Make sense? So that way they're sacrificing this life, they're sacrificing next life. Really, I mean, we have to try to remember that kind of kindness went through. It makes sense, yeah. So that's called the kindness of going under hardship. Then showing the world. Showing the world means that our first teacher was our parent. Our first guru is our parent. You know, teacher or instructor. If you have a good parent, you can become a good chance to become a good person. If you have a terrible person, you have a really good chance to become a terrible person. Because kids learn from your action, not from your word. Whatever you do, kid will follow with that most of the time. So like His Holiness Dalai Lama said, my first teacher was my mother. She taught me how to love. She taught me how to be compassionate. So I think like when I was a kid, you know, like we do lots of kid stuff, sometimes harm animals. And then we get a really bad scold from my mom. You know, it's like she treat me as like a, you know, something like illegal things happen, even the harm little bit animals. Make sense? So when she does that one, then next time, even I get chance to do certain things, I have to think twice, 3 times, you know. Then that's before doing that one, I managed to stop doing that. Actually, so by parents scolding, punishment or whatever, through that too, we learn what is right manner, what is the wrong manner, what is the right action, what is the wrong action. There's lots of things actually we learn from our parents, or I mean earlier environment, can say, yeah, our early environment, we can learn lots of things. Yes, yeah, Kevin.
You mentioned, I think a while back you mentioned that like the monastery and stuff wasn't supposed to accept donations from, if they felt that it was gained illegally.
Yes.
So can you expand that further and say that is there negativity passed on to the children because they were recipient of negative acts that funds the money that their parents got?
I don't know, that part is for the children getting their own, because the monastery, you're not allowed to offer into the monks wrong livelihood, basically. Make sense? So I think maybe you can say in your kid too, but I mean, when what I'm saying is when parents, you know, desperate, they will do anything. Yeah. So I'm saying is she or he sacrificed themselves, their reputation, their karma, their next life, everything sacrificed, try to provide to the kids. So when you remember all this kindness, then no matter what happened, she scold you every day. You never lose the love to her. If you don't remember, if you're not reflecting on her kindness, and she loved you whole life, but one day she scold you, you lose her love. You stop loving her. Make sense? One incident can cause you because you never thinking about her kindness. So that way, if you think about those four kindness, then no matter what happened, you never stop loving. If you thinking about those kindness for someone, doesn't matter that person is even that person is a really bad person. Whole society said that person is horrible, but you never stop loving that person because you remember only the kindness of what you receive. So that way, how become strong love to your husband, your wife, your parent, your children, your neighbor, your sibling, say, only can make strong love by remembering their kindness. Then that love is become unconditional. Then you will think, I wish that person is happy. I wish that person is healthy. I wish that person is successful. And you see all the good things on that person. That is what unconditional love means. Normally, English language love is, I don't know, the meaning is really suitable to the Dharma, Mitra word, the Sanskrit. I don't know, because the English language is sometimes used in love as a, what you like. Huh? Yeah, I mean, yes, I use this many times. I love chickens, basically, for example. Then you ate the chicken. Makes sense? So you really don't care about the chicken. In here, one talking about the mitra, the love, mean that you care that individual. So that way, I don't know the word of English love is exactly matched with the meaning is with this meaning. But here, when we talk about the loving kindness, it's talking about the care. It's talking about the remembering the kindness. It's talking about the wishing that individual to be happy. Make sense? So that is what does love mean. So if you don't have this feeling of love, you will not have compassion. Like if you have a only child, if child have small scratch, immediately, what happened? Why, blurting this and that, you will scream and you will yell and you will try to save that from whatever, problem. Why you are so kind like that, because you care so much on that child. You love so much on that child. But if you see that same situation with a stranger one, you have no feeling. You just said, oh, too bad, in the walkway. Make sense? That is a different between the you have love or not. Because you don't love, you have no compassion. Having compassion is not easy, if you don't have love. So I think this reason why we always talk about the love first and compassion second. So in the Dharma text said, now think about your loved one, this loved one, anyone who say, if that person is experiencing like hell, hot hell, cold hell, every day cooking in the boiling metal liquid and without dying. And on that, and all the messenger of the Yama, they what called the poking with the sharp weapons. When you come on the top of the metal liquid, the messenger Yama's sharp weapon push you down with a sharp, cutting. And when you go down and the liquid is so hot, until your karma is finished, you will not die from that. That kind of suffering goes in the hell. So if your loved one is experiencing something like that, how are you going to react? Then think about the hungry ghosts. Some hungry ghosts, they don't even not hearing the sound of a name of the water and food for 100 and 500 years. they're not going to find anything. There's one Nagarjuna said, those hungry ghosts, when they look the river becoming dry. When they look the fruit, you know, for us, you see the fresh fruit, when they try to touch, it becomes dust. Because of their karma, couldn't find food, drink, or anything. There's a sudden beings have that kind of experience, go to do that. So I think the hungry ghosts, we have two kind of hungry ghosts, you know, outer obscuration and inner obscurations. Outer obscuration mean that, you know, you see the fruit, but there's a God protecting you that cannot reach to the fruit. The scary God God can say protecting fence, you know. So you see you couldn't reach. Inner obscuration is you have a small mouth, difficult to eat, and your what called the throat is tiny. Even you can eat, the mouth can go here. And if some point is you push and go through the, you know, throat, and because of your belly is huge, it's become a more suffering, and that food become a fire. Yeah, said then you see the hungry ghost, some coming smoke out from the ear and the mouth. So, you know, lately I realizing I think I am one of those hungry ghosts. I did this. I realized that when I was in the Switzerland, I said that definitely I'm a hungry ghost, because when my body is healthy, that I can enjoy all those ice cream and all those delicious things, you know. I don't have money, so I have outer obscurations. I'm not allowed to reach there, you know, because no money to buy. So outer obscurations. Now people donate me a little bit. I can afford to like ice cream or things like that. Now I have an inner problem. If I eat it, my heart burn and all those suffering comes. So inner obscurations. So definitely I have this experience made of the hungry ghost. I really thought that way.
Haven't seen any smoke coming from your.
Yes, but you know, worse than smoke, I can feel. Burning is really bad. Yes, I can feel the fire. You don't see the smoke, but there's a really heavy smoke. So I think hungry ghost is something like that. There are outer obscuration and inner obscuration. I went through both. Make sense? So I think something like that. You know, sometimes they not have a power to get them, hungry ghosts. Sometimes if they get, it become negative. It become a fire on their stomach. Make sense? So that reason they suffering like this. And that summer days, even the moon is too hot. The winter, even sun is becoming too cold. Almost like Maryland weather. So that is the experience, man, the hungry ghost. But still, we don't see the human naked eye, hungry ghosts and hell beings, but we see the animal suffering. If our loved one is animals, like animal, there's two types of animals. One is live in the ocean. Have you seen any animal in the ocean really relaxing? They all food chain each other. Really, they are all food chains. If they don't eat each other, then human catch them. You know, so actually, basically they are all food chains. They're waiting for their number when they're going to get into the, you know. And you know, what called this mammals, animals. You know, like normally people said like a lion and a tiger, they don't scare. But actually in the geography, they show they stay many days hungry. Many times they are not really successful with hunting. So even they have a power, but see, they not always be really like an enjoyable life. And most of those animals die with hungry. When their body is no longer can hunt, and they died. So that way, when we think then if our loved one is experiencing that one, how you going to feel? Then in the human, every human being suffering, they experience the 8 great sufferings. Suffering of the birth, suffering of the aging, suffering of the sickness, suffering of the death. And on that, suffering of the meeting with the unpleasant one, suffering of the separating loved one, suffering of the not finding what you want, suffering of the losing what you have. So it's basically like if you look in the human realm, you're not going to find anyone who totally free from suffering. Rich one have their own suffering, poor one have their own suffering. Make sense? So if your loved one is experiencing those all suffering, so you have no chance to stay relax, stay enjoy, stay joyful without try to do something like that. So this reason the Bodhisattva will never rest, because they see the suffering of sentient beings. Since they see the suffering of sentient beings, they never rest in the cessation of the nirvana. They continually benefit sentient beings. They continually help sentient beings. Like in the spiritual way, all those senior lama, they call themselves retired, but they never get a retirement because they never get chance to relax. They have to work whole their life to benefit of sentient beings. Make sense? So once you make that vow, commitment, so you will never rest, and because of that, they can become Buddhahood. So through the Bodhicitta. So I think this we have to think about this so that way in this text. I mean, I don't want to read everything because it will make you no, irritate. Yeah. No, irritated, because my reading is terrible, and it will make you really irritated when you have to listen what my reading, So that way I'm not going to read, but you will read and you will see, in this text, like for example, in this, the Rinzishira really emphasizing on the more detail on this 4 kindness, because if you understand that this 4 kindness, there's no obstacle that can stop your meditation on the loving kindness. There are no other condition can lose your loving kindness. So that way, so what I was saying is our loving kindness is not really strong, not really solid, not really stable, really fragile. Why? Because we don't have enough meditation on those 4 kindness. So if you try to remember all those 4 kindness, anyone's in your life who you love, and try to remember their kindness, then once you remember their kindness, no matter what happened, even that person is shouting you, even that person is saying mean things, you will never remember all the shouting or mean things. Only you remember the kindness. Once you remember the kindness, you never love the lose. lose the love. Make sense? Otherwise, yeah.
You said love and compassion, what are the other two types of love or kindness?
Joy, equanimity. Joy and equanimity. Joy and equanimity is easy. You know, you can get the joy and equanimity if you have a love and compassion. It's easier if you have a loving kindness and compassion, and joy and equanimity come. If you don't have a loving kindness and compassion, joy and equanimity will never have you. Because you never joy, you're only jealous. Make sense? That is the difference. If you love someone, when you see that person is succeeding, you get more joy. Yeah? But if you don't have a love, if someone is succeeding, you get jealous. So if you have a loving kindness and compassion, joy and equanimity will come. So mostly it's you have to emphasize on these two, loving kindness, compassion, from the four immeasurable. So that way, I think you should read this book. It's a really good menu. So benefit here said, if happiness, joy, and so forth that arising for oneself and other is the limitless benefit. One should read about the detail from the other texts and to understand this further. So, you know, in the Shantidevas, where Bodhisattva contract, and Shantideva said, I don't want to say too much. Just look this way, compared to the Buddha and sentient beings. Sentient beings only focusing themselves, and Buddha is only focusing for other. You know, Buddha only thinking for others' sake. That way become a Buddha. Sentient being thinking only themselves. That way stuck in the samsara. So that way, all the joy and the happiness is by meditating on the loving kindness and compassion come true joy. Then when you have you experience the truly joy from the loving kindness, compassion, and meditation on the loving kindness and compassion, that is not artificial joy. And that joy will never lose. And that joy will never become source of suffering. Make sense? Our joy is artificial. And our joy is dependable. Our joy is a kind of a source of actually suffering. Every joy brings end with suffering. Make sense? So, but when you have a true joy from this kind of a emotion, then that's become really authentic joy, undisturbed joy. So, yeah, that is the beneficial. And compassion is we just talk. So here, I mean, dividing compassion between the hell realm, compassion for the Pirita realm, compassion for the animal realm, compassion human realm, compassion for those in the God realm, and benefit and the quality of the meditation on the compassions. In brief, all sentient beings from time without the beginners have been experiencing the suffering and samsara unbroken for even in the instant. Furthermore, now in the dependent on the clinging to the self and the thought, not knowing that is the accept and what is the reject. So that is the cause of the happiness is the practice of the virtue. One give rise to the 5 poison in the one's mind through one's own practice and non-virtue action and wandering endlessly in the samsara and the lower realms in the insane fashion. One destroy one's own life. Sentient beings are like a mud flying into the flame, who could not ennoble either hurt or them. So this is basically talking about the faults of attached to the sense faculties. We see that eye attached to the form is like a butterfly, jumping to the flame. Ear attached to the sound, by then a hunter kill the deer. Food attached to the taste, fish caught by the hook, and body attached to the touch, as an elephant died with the mud bathing. Mud bathing. So those are faults of the attached to the 5 sensual. Okay, so these two, loving kindness and compassion, is the seed of the bodhicitta. Like when you plant the seed, actually seed, you need the soil, good healthy soil, and you need the moisture. So loving kindness is like a soil. Compassion is a moisture. With the seed of a bodhicitta, meet with the loving kindness and compassion, and will grow fruit of a Buddhahood. But seed alone cannot grow that fruit of Buddhahood. Makes sense? So I think that way, how to can generate the bodhicitta, meditating on the loving kindness, compassion. So in Tibet, this bodhicitta teaching, there's a 2 tradition comes. One is called the action lineage, one is called the view lineage. And according to the view lineage, generate bodhicitta through the self and other exchange. And according to the action lineage, generate bodhicitta through the 7 cause and result. It's called the 7 cause and result. Is recognizing as a mother, remembering the kindness, 3 repaying the kindness, 4 marshiba, delight, love, delightful love, 5 compassion, and 6 special thought. Altruistic. Special thought means the talking about the altruistic. So these are the 6 cause. Through these 6 cause, you generate a bodhicitta. It's the 7th. So this 7 cause and result through this generative bodhicitta. So either way, both need altruistic motivation of loving kindness and compassion toward to the sentient beings. Okay, here said the meditation on the bodhicitta. So this morning, Khenpo Rinpoche talk this one, but the Vaja verse of the 5 path of Mahamudra Upadisha. There are 2 types of bodhicitta, relative and absolute. Okay, first category is the divided into the 2 aspirational and engaged. So this one is we call the normally relative bodhicitta is divided into 2, aspiration bodhicitta and action bodhicitta. Regarding on the first, wish to be later, one engaging in accomplishment, those wish to be accomplishing both of these, there are vows. So regarding in this, mean the relative bodhicitta. First is a wish. It means the aspiration bodhicitta is a wishing to become Buddha. the later one engaging in the accomplishment of this wish. So how you fulfill that wish through the engaging, like you wishing to go to DC, it's the aspiration bodhicitta. The how you fulfill that wish is you actually have to go. So in here, in the Mahayana tradition, aspiration bodhicitta means that wishing to become a Buddha for benefit of sentient beings, and how to can become a Buddha is by engaging. You know what is engaging? Mean the practice of 6 paramita. Actually, it comes later here, so I want to read a little bit. Okay, don't irritate it when I'm reading. It's necessary to practice the training up. So division of the 4 cause of the abiding, 22 example, 4 ground, 2 essence. This method of the keeping up that which is the abandoning and which is the acceptance. These are the complete training which are the need to be explained teaching on this Tugi Chemo. Tugi Chemo is one of the great bodhicitta ceremony of the Tikkun tradition. Abbreviated teaching on the practice of whether one is able to practice, one should definitely develop the understanding of these trainings. So there's 2 types of bodhicitta, relative and ultimate. Ultimate bodhicitta is the taught in the main practice of the Mahamudra. So in the Uttara Tantra, there's 3 cause of the ultimate realization of ultimate bodhicitta, 3 cause. Please the Buddha, accumulation, merit, and wisdom, 2. And third one is meditating on the meditation on the phenomena non-conceptualize. Can say? So these 3 are the cause to realization of the ultimate bodhicitta. And Mahamudra tradition as how to you realizing the Mahamudra, of course, you need all the preliminary practice. Make sense? You need all the preliminary practice, including to the bodhicitta. And then you transform yourself as a deity. Then you visualizing Guru on your crown and receive the blessings. Guru supplication. Then meditation on the Mahamudra itself. Mahamudra itself divided into 2, Kamabhati and a Vipassana. Kamabhati is basically your mind becoming flexible through the Kamabhati. Because right now, our mind is not really flexible. You know, you wishing to be, just think about the happy things, but mind thinking something else. So our mind is not really listening to us right now. So that way, if you look, I mean, later Khenpo will explain, but if you look at this picture of the meditation, there's an elephant. It's a really mad elephant. Crazy one. Our mind is exactly like that. Never listen to anyone. Have you ever listened your mind to you? Think about that. When really listen your mind to you, they never listen to you. Whatever you wish, they do opposite. Yeah. When you want to meditate, you know, calm, mind thinking become busy. When you want to think, mind become really relaxed. So always do the opposite one. Never listen to you. Because of lack of the Kamabhati. Kamabhati is basically try to make the mind really flexible. When your mind becomes flexible, it's called the Xinjiang. In the meditation, it's called the Xinjiang. Xinjiang means the flexible. You know, then you can meditate on the Vipassana. So that way, if you receive the Vipassana instruction too early, when you try to meditate on the like a Mahamudra, your mind is really never stay on that stage. So I think this reason need the karma biting. So that is a karma biting and a Vipassana. These two are the meditation on the Mahamudra being. So through this, then you have a realization of the nature of a mind. When you realizing the nature of the mind, in the Sudra tradition is called the path of the seeing. You directly see the inner what called emptiness. In the Tantra, in the Mahamudra tradition, is called the seeing the naked mind, inner nature mind. So then you have a direct realization of the suchness. That is what is mean the ultimate bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta. So that way, that is what is ultimate bodhicitta, so Mahayana. From the two types of the relative bodhicitta, aspiration and application. First, there is a wish to be attained the Buddhahood for the purpose of benefiting all sentient beings. So when you wishing to become Buddha for benefit of sentient beings, so there's a two aspect. Wishing to become a Buddhahood is a one aspect. Purpose of benefiting sentient beings is another aspect. These are the aspirations. Exemplifies wish to go to the somewhere, then one take up to the bodhicitta training, one work on the accomplishing Buddhahood, or engaging oneself to the practice of the Buddhahood, which is like the action of actually going. So this is a two bodhicitta of the called the relative bodhicitta. But so this relative bodhicitta is you receive through the ritual, training. I mean, through the ritual ceremony. That they have a particular ceremony. If you read the jewel ornament, they have a detail on that ceremony. Both ritual and the action bodhicitta and view bodhicittas, view tradition and action lineage, both bodhicitta ceremony detail explained in the jewels. But once we took the bodhicitta, then there's a training. Training is mean the practice of a bodhicitta, how you practice, how to keep. Cause, there are two causes of the giving rise of the bodhicitta. Abiding cause of the membership of the Mahayana family, it means that you have a Mahayana family seat. Make sense? That is cause. So Mahayana family is like a mini lifetime. You have experience of the practice of the Mahayana. So that way, genuinely, naturally, you are really kind, compassion and interest on the Mahayana path. All those come from because you have the potential of the Mahayana. Make sense? So that way, this is it. For the membership. I don't know what is membership. Abiding in the cause is a membership. I don't know why she used that membership, but in jewel ornament, it said belong to the Mahayana family. I think basically use as belong to the Mahayana families. Okay, that is the first cause. The cause of the giving rising are believing that one Lama is a Buddha, and gathering the vast to accumulation, meditating on the four immeasurable, extraordinary practice of the going for refuge. So, see Guru as a Buddha. Even the Vajrayana, you have to see Guru as a Buddha. I mean, that in the Mahayana, you have to see believing that one Lama is a Buddha is like talking about the devotion, and two accumulation merit and accumulation wisdom. Then four immeasurable, we just talk: love, compassion, joy, equanimity. Extraordinary practice going for refuge. This is called the special refuge in the Mahayana refuge. So generally, I think maybe it's come later. What is the difference between the Mahayana refuge and Hinayana refuge? As a motivation is different. You know, Mahayana refuge is motivated by the compassion. Hinayana refuge is motivated by the fears. When you took refuge because of fear of the samsara and fear of the suffering of the lower one, it's become Hinayana refuge. When you took refuge because of the compassion toward to the sentient beings, it's become a Mahayana refuge. So that is a little bit different. Make sense? Mahayana refuge and Hinayana refuge. And also timing is different. In the Hinayana refuge, when you took refuge, it said from now on until death. Only take refuge this life. But the Mahayana refuge, from now on until enlightenment, complete enlightenment. Buddha as a teacher, Dharma as a teacher, Sangha as a community. So I think can say that this kind of what called detail make that different with the so here generating bodhicitta need these four cause. I'm sure you feel like boring too much where those lists, what's importance. But actually, if you really want to realizing this list is necessary, you know. But if you want to just feel good, then you don't need this all. Huh? That concept就是写的点下一了，但是也That division term example, those are no need. So here said for page 58, for special practice going for refuge is said to be special because the meaning is different from the Hinayana practice. Going for refuge, this practice is special regarding the time for the which one goes for refuge, because it's going for refuge until one achieve the enlightenment. This practice is special regarding the motivation going for refuge because it is a benefit for others. So that way these two, time and motivation, make different. So motivation is a compassion, time is a you take until from now on until complete enlightenment. So here in our opening prayer, there's a bodhicitta. There's a two type. So first part is a taking refuge. Until the heart of enlightenment is reached, I go for refuge of the Buddha and the Dharma and the Bodhisattva in the manner of the assembly of the enlightened being. I go for refuge. So this is special bodhicitta, refuge, because said until the heart of enlightenment is reached. Heart of enlightenment is talking about the highest enlightenment, which is the Buddha. Because there's four different type of enlightenments: Arhat, solitary realization, Bodhisattva, Buddha. Arhat is enlightenment because they are free from samsara. Solitary realization is enlightenment because they are free from samsara. Bodhisattva first Bhumi to 10th Bhumi enlightenment because they are free from samsara. But they are not heart of the enlightenment, essence, because not reach Buddhahood. So heart of enlightenment or the essence of the enlightenment is the only talking about the Buddha. So in this prayer, in this maybe English a little bit different than our prayer book, yeah. Huh?
It's what you read sounded like.
Yeah. Yeah, in the prayer book say, until the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. And I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise the symbol of the Bodhisattva. So here, heart is used the same. So Janju Nimbu Chiji bars in the Tibetan. So Nimbu Janju is the essence of the Buddha, heart of the Buddha, are the same heart or essence, yeah? Yeah. So that's talking about the Buddhahood. Take refuge to the Buddha as a teacher, Dharma as a teaching, and Bodhisattva as a Sangha. So Buddha Dharma Sangha. It's a Sangha community. So and so main practice is previously as a Buddha so generate the mind of enlightenment, clearly remembering the example of the all the Buddha abiding in the training of the Bodhicitta. One generated Bodhicitta as they did, reflecting on the training of the Bodhicitta, complete with the certainty on mixing on one's mind stream with the thought of this training. Regarding this, one should recite the following main practice of the possibles, just as the previous Sugata, previous Tathagatas, I mean that all the past Buddha generate the mind of enlightenment, just they train in the stage, in the mind of the enlightenment. I will train in the stage by generating the mind of enlightenment for purpose of benefiting beings in this way. So here's the two bodhicitta called the previously Tathagata generate the mind of enlightenment. That's called the aspiration bodhicitta. Generate the mind of enlightenment means I wish to become Buddha. That's the mind of enlightenment. Just as they train in the stage, once they generate the mind of enlightenment, they train the stage as a path, like 6 paramita: generosity, morality, patience, perseverance, mental concentration. Those all training went through the same way. I want to go this. Then rejoice the oneself and this not dishonor in the Mahayana family, giving joy to the other for taking care of them. So rejoice the oneself means that you have to rejoice that you have many lifetimes. How many lifetimes you had? There's no number. Before beginningless samsara until now, all those life went through the meaninglessly. You born, raised, educated, and work, and get old, died. Done. Yeah. Yes, it's really depressing. If you look this way, actually, and they're really meaningless. No matter what you do, it's just finish there. Make sense? So until now, we went through that circle continually, endless. Born, educate, get job, work hard, get old, die. It went through. Sometimes even not get chance to get old, just die. So lucky one just stay old. So we went through this continually until now. Our life became meaningless. All those work. But this life, we are fortunate enough to meet with the Dharma, get chance to practice the Dharma, have freedom to practice Dharma. All those suitable conditions with us now. I mean, this kind of condition happen, complete condition is not really easy. That we're called the precious human beings. Becoming precious have to be really great causes, good merit to become a precious one. So this kind of opportunity we never had before, but this life we get chance to meet with the Dharma, have freedom to practice Dharma, have an emotional support of the devotion of the Dharma. So that way I have to rejoice with that, whatever we get chance. So that rejoice is saying is a meditation on the training. I mean the rejoice in here said, with this precious human body, I could achieve the great result. Today, I am born in the Buddha's family. Now I am the son or daughter of the Bodhisattvas. That's a rejoice. Second, recite. Now, no matter what happened, I will make effort according to the Mahayana family. I will never contaminate this stainless, saintly family. So once you join to the Mahayana family, now whatever you do, you have a responsibility of protecting the reputation of the Mahayana family. Like when somebody joined to the Dharma center or, then when you do something wrong, and they just said, oh, that person is a Buddhist, the member. Make sense? You remember the Navy Yard shooter?
Yeah.
He went maybe a few times a meditation place, and they said, oh, he's a Dharma practitioner. Make sense? Yeah. So people went and they try to find way to blame, then all those comes. So not just only criticize to you, to us, criticize to all the lineage, criticize to everyone belonging into that community. Make sense? So that reason saying is here we have a responsibility of the protecting the honor of the family, that we said not dishonoring the Mahayana family. Okay. Then third one is from of all the protector, I promise today to establishing all the migrate into the Sagata well-gone state. Meanwhile, for their happiness, I invite all of these my guests. I bring all sentient beings to joy, including the God and demigod. So basically said, all sentient beings, now you relax. I make vow in front of the Buddha and Bodhisattva to help you. Because when we generate bodhicitta, basically we're saying is, I want to help those needy one, destitute one, unfree one, because many sentient beings, they want to be peace, happiness, but they don't have a basic condition to create that peace and happiness. Mentally not able, not capable, physically not capable, environmentally not capable. Lots of sentient beings. Environment, sometimes because of the environment, cannot practice. Sometimes because of the physical condition, cannot practice. Sometimes mental condition, cannot practice. So there's a many, the unfavorable conditions, sentient beings. Because of that, they through the misery to creating more negative karma. So dark to darker goes. So you have ability to can help them. So that way you make a vow to want to help those especially needy one. Make sense? So this is a third one is basically saying so giving joy to the other, to taking care of them. So then the training is basically, so once you took the vow, how you protect by not breaking. So there's should not damage one's training in going for refuge. Basically, do not damage the refuge vow. First one. One should remember the benefit of the quality of the bodhicitta. So always try to understand what is beneficial of the bodhicitta. And actually, you should read the jewel ornament, because this kind of text not give the detail. But jewel ornament is the one that text give you all the detailed information, like what is the benefit of bodhicitta. If you want to, just read from the jewel ornament. And one's mind, one should not abandoning even the one sentient beings. And for unwholesome and unwholesome dharma, these are the what should reject and what accept. So it's a one abandoning the four unwholesome dharma. This four unwholesome dharma, basically, they said, if you commit those one of those four unwholesome dharma, problem is a next mini life, you're not going to meet with the dharma. You separate with the dharma because of that. So this is, I think, necessary. Deceiving the Lama from whom one has received great kindness and those worthy of receiving offering, like a receiving offering is talking about the like high being guru, enlightened one, teacher, 3 jewels, any of those if you deceive. So that way, I want to say something, but maybe it's not good to say. It's okay, never mind. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now we're just gonna make stuff up.
Okay, I will say simple way. It's a really difficult become serious Dharma practitioner or successfully running community. Really difficult. These two come together. It's a really difficult. I can say that much. So you cannot, especially you cannot deceive your guru. That is a really heavy negative karma. Guru and parent, you receive the great kindness from them. If you deceive them, that is a really bad karma. Even guru kill you, you cannot deceive them. Really, I mean that no matter what. So this is, one of the big capital N-O. Okay, that first one does. Harboring the mind of a hatred and expressing the fault of the Bodhisattva who has generated the mind of enlightenment. So, like true or not true, anything faults of a Bodhisattva cannot mention to the, try to make bad reputation through even that Bodhisattva make the mistake. Shouldn't say that. Because once that individual generate the mind of enlightenment, that individual is no longer ordinary beings. That individual is a noble beings. Okay, once truly, I'm not saying it's everyone who received the ceremony, you generate Bodhicitta. I'm not saying that way. Someone who truly generate the mind of enlightenment, you're not allowed to criticize on that person because you criticizing to the noble beings. Unless you really want to be called a constructive criticism, yeah, that's different. So, like in the Buddhism, we said like statue. If you see the statue, unless you want to fix that, but you other than that, you're not allowed to say this statue is too big head or in a kind of criticism way. You're not allowed to say because you created a negative karma by using that kind of a negative word. So same thing as those Bodhisattvas. Even the Bodhisattva have a obviously fault. You're not allowed to unless you want to help them to correct. Make sense? So sometimes because of our jealousy or some other emotion, we when these days when somebody does small mistake, everybody talking about that. But when that person doing lots of good things, and nobody talk. And sometimes, you know, this is unfair, but this happened as a person who whole life dedicated doing wonderful things for the other, and wash away all those hard work for lifetime is by one incident. And people only criticizing. Like Sujit Rinpoche. You know, end of his life, everybody said lots of bad things because one incident. Nobody talking about the whole life he dedicated to help many people. Make sense? So sometimes unfair things happen, but I'm not saying so. This is so. I'm not saying is if those Bodhisattva, truly Bodhisattva, if they have a false, they are become a falseless. It's not. There's their karma. You know, they have to pass their karma, whatever they did. But if you criticize on them, then you create a heavy negative karma. That's what I mean here. It's not talking about hide their problem. It's not talking about hiding their problem. As they have a problem, obviously that is a problem, but you are not the person who judging on their problem. Make sense? So, yeah.
Saying that creates bad karma or negative karma, is that more of a action result type karma or the habitual tendencies of the mind?
Both.
Both. Cool. Thank you.
And causing regret in order for accomplishing the root of a virtue, such as giving rise to the mind of enlightenment. And so when unnecessary way to you make them regret. You know, something is doing something wonderful. You say, why are you wasting money to there? And why are you doing this one? You shouldn't do. Then you try to tell them so many, oh, you're doing this, they're wasting here, there, you know, you make them regret for things that shouldn't be regret. Lots of time people do that one. I saw some news, you know, anger, they're talking about they say, oh, you know, those non-profit organization, most of money is keep themselves. Like kind of discouraging people to support continually. I think that kind of things shouldn't do. Make sense? Because that's a noble job, noble work, and you make them regret. That's not good. Deceiving sentient being. This is a wish to be chart other deceptive action in basis such as a short someone's or sealing less than the agree upon measure of the good and other unethical business practice. This is similar like a wrong livelihood. Yeah. So basically whatever dissipation means. So this 4 is called the 4 unwholesome deed in the jewel ornament. Here they use for unwholesome dharma as a little small d. And one take for wholesome antidote of the verbs. One should have a respect for the Lama and those worthy to offering and not tell lie to them. One should give rise to the thought that regard all the Buddha and Bodhisattvas expressing their qualities. One should encouraging the other being to virtuous practice, such as a generate the mind of enlightenment. Having this faultless, all trust, intention, one should rejoice the sentient beings. So this is called the 4 wholesome deeds. Then training of the application bodhicitta, action bodhicitta, restraining the form misbehavior, accumulating the virtuous dharma, and the morality of the welfare of other sentient beings. So this restraining the misbehavior mean the there's a 4 rude downfalls. This is Bodhisattva, I think it's important. Pressing oneself and degenerating others based on the attachment to gain the wealth, honor, and respect. So that way, earlier I said running center and being good Dharma practitioner is really, really difficult. Huh? It's difficult. Yeah. So I'm just jogging this one, but basically, because because of the attached to the honoring or like kind of like offering, and you try to make yourself so wonderful and try to make others really bad, then that is it, one of the root downfall. When you do that one, you destroy your bodhicitta. If you not come what called restore within the time. Make sense? Yeah. And that's one. Two, with the same stinginess, not being generous with the dharma, wealth, or those who are suffering without the protection. So because of your stinginess, you're not giving dharma, you're not giving all the wealth if someone who really need. Someone who really needs, someone who really suitable to receive the teaching, but you're not giving them because of your stinginess or because of your kind of like attached to the something, then it's become second downfall. And angrily punishing others without accepting their apology. And the fourth one said, abandoning the Mahayana vehicle, then giving false teachings. So this one is become a totally destroy the vows if have with four conditions. Four conditions are continually doing. One, you enjoy doing that one. Two, without the kind of like not giving up. Three, and now one's now I forgot one. There's a four condition. Sorry, my memory is a little bit vivid today. There's a four condition. It's called the Tibetan called the Kunti Khenpo. Kunti Khenpo means the great falls, great falls. With the is this four root downfall with the four condition. Doing continually without the regret, without the kind of or seeing that as a virtue, that as a quality, and without stopping. So with this four, if you do, then it become a great, great negative. And with that great negative, you have to renew the complete vow. If you do this way, then you have to renew the complete vow because totally destroyed with these four. But because of that, you have a sense, because someone else said you shouldn't do this, continue, you should give up this. Then because of the request by the someone, if you stop continuing and become a meteor downfall, then you can confess to the front of the three bodhisattvas. But if you can sense of yourself, said, oh, you regret, oh, I shouldn't do this one, this is not good, and you stop doing that one, then you have to confess by your own mind as a witness. So even this downfalls, so if you're passing the time of the session, or I think like most of the time they said pass the session. Session means like 4 hours is one session. because there's normally we divide the 6 session for 24 hours. So if 24 hours divided into the 4 is becoming 4 hours each session. Within the 4 hour, you not come sense of regretting, then it's past the time. Then you have to confess. If you within the 4 hour, before the 4 hour, if you have a sense of recognizing you have a mistake, then it's not become a complete downfall. So this way, even Mahayana, I mean, once you generate Bodhicitta, you must what called follow to the trainings. Otherwise, as is how to say, but these 4 and so forth are the violation of the root of the Buddhist vow that are the same defeat of the Vinaya. So how to become a violation as a but with the I think in the Tibetan we call the Kunti Khenpo. Kunti Khenpo means I think can says great great negative emotion, something like that. I don't know that English word. I tried to find that particular English word on this. I couldn't find because I don't know. I tried to use the dictionary, but in the dictionary I never find a really specific word on this. So I don't know, but it's which is with the 4 condition, doing continually and see that is a quality, and without giving up, yeah, no. It's good. Oh, okay. I will try to do. So I mean, making commitment is easy. By keeping commitment is difficult. Make sense? So that reason, in the Dharma, we said, holy being will not make lots of commitment, but once make a commitment, never give up, even risk of their life. What we do is we make so much commitment, we never follow none of them. So I think if we're not following to those commitments, I think it's become a really bad habit. Then later we never accomplishing anything because we start something and we get bored. Because most of the time we follow with our excitement, but that excitement will run out, after then, if you don't have a really true devotion, then giving up. So if we do with the truly devotion, then no matter what, so long they continually do. Makes sense? So that is the different. Some I think in the in the ornament of the Mahayana Sutra said power of the friend. If you generate the bodhicitta, power of the friend is become unstable. If generate bodhicitta, power of the uh, your own devotion or your own merit and become a more stable. Because if you follow into someone because someone says, oh, this is wonderful, this is something such so amazing, this, you should go there, then you will go. You thought something really, amazing or something, then but this not really match with what you expecting, then you give it up easily. But if you go with the devotionally, and even you are not fulfill your expectation at the moment, and it will, you will continue. Like some people requires the prayer, sometimes work, sometimes not work, Then when it not work, then say, oh, that's not good dharma. They not helpful for prayer. It's not really helpful. So with the what's that? Then it was regarding of the seconds gathering the true accumulation with the generosity mind giving the sentient being, without the attachment to all your possession and result of for oneself, with the disciplined mind abandoning the practice of non-virtue through the three doors, being tolerant of the being harmed by others, of the sadness, of the tiredness, patient which is not afraid of the suchness, and perseverance of the perfect joy in the virtue, the samadhi which is the mind of the one pointed on the virtue, and the wisdom which realizing the interesting nature of the dharma. So this is the sixth paramita, but sixth paramita most of everybody knows, but I really like this detail how to express this way. It's really good. Page 62 said, generosity. What does the generosity mind mean? Giving to sentient beings without attachment to your to all your possession, and so resolve for oneself. We lots of time we give, but there's always be hindering attachment of because of this give, hoping to get something. Make sense? Result. Next life maybe become rich, or this life achieve something, So when we have a this attachment, then it's not become a pure giving. So you have to give the purely. I think Jewel Ornament said pure intention, pure material, pure receivings. Pure intention means that without attachment, hope, or fears, any kind of without any kind of, that's called the pure intentions. And pure material means that the material must be accumulated through the legally, not like a what called the wrong livelihood things. And few recipient means that somebody who really need. Because for us, giving to someone really highly one is easy. I always say to the especially Asian community when I go to, I said, when you try to offering to the lamas, $100, no problem. But when you try to go to the street, beggar one who really need, giving $1 have really difficult, hesitate. Actually, if you look really carefully, Lama doesn't need that much money. Who need is those beggars. Lama have a really comfortable life, most of Lama. Make sense? But this is our nature. We have a really this. So basically, I think so. A few recipient mean the who really need, particularly. You shouldn't give the money or anything to somebody may use wrong way. Make sense?
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
A lot of people you see dating are alcoholics, drug addicts. You know perfectly well if you give it to them, they're just gonna run off and, buy more alcohol and more drugs. And, I understand that you should give it to them anyway, but, really, you're just feeding their bad habits.
Yeah, I heard that one. I heard that one. That's just, I mean, that's a really problem. Is we don't know exactly, you know. So so that way actually, best way you want to give those homeless is to donate to the soup kitchen. I think this kind of is really good because that's the soup kitchen things directly feed to the who really need one. Like a charity. Yeah, I think that's really good. I think better than just giving on the street. What you say, I heard that one. Lots of people said. So yeah, that's really difficult to say. That's what is generosity. That with the discipline, the mind abandoning the practice of the non-virtue through the three doors. It means that our non-virtue three doors mean that like body, speech, mind. You know, avoiding to the all the physically non-virtue like killing, sexual misconduct, stealing, from avoiding from the non-virtue from the verbally, you know, vocal, like lying, harsh word, idle talk, divisive speech, and avoiding the non-virtue from the mind, you know, covetousness, harmful thought, and wrong views. So those called the 10 non-virtues. So that's what the discipline mean. The discipline from the negative action. Being tolerant of the being harmed by other, or sadness and tiredness, practice which is not afraid of the suchness. So there's two different here. One is tolerant or being patient when you facing challenge or difficulty from the physically. That is basically most is physically hardship, you know, including the someone treat you really bad or you know, too hot or too cold or you know, any kind of environment circumstance, physically intolerable circumstance. Even have you be patient to try to keep continually, you know, not just immediately give, oh, it's a little too hot, I don't want to continue. Oh, this is a little too cold, I don't want to continue. So that's lack of patience, you know, then it doesn't. The other one is a mentally patient. Mentally patient means that like certain point, some people have a fears of when they're hearing the suchness or the emptiness. Like I met one guy, he said he liked the Buddhism idea, but Buddhism is end up with the nothing. So I don't like that one. Talking about the emptiness. So like in India, lots of people, they cannot tolerate to hearing the word of emptiness. And so they don't want. And I heard when Adisha came to Tibet, Tibetan people chant the Heart Sutra in the publicly. He was really surprised. In India, it's a really secretly chanting because publicly, lots of people don't want to hear the emptiness. And also, I heard that lots of scientists become an emotional problem because they see the whole world is a kind of like a, what call this? Crashing. Huh? No, they see the whole world is not solid. Like we see the solid, so we have no problem. We think like we're secure. They don't see that way. Makes sense? Yeah. What? How to say that one? I heard that some scientists had this.
They see that. Well, I don't get into it, but they see there are possibilities in quantum mechanics where you can start with nothing and end up with something. And Einstein had a hard time getting his mind around that.
Yeah, something like that. I heard this. They have an emotional problem because they cannot tolerate the suchness and emptiness. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So, so that way, there's a two type of patience. Physically being patient of the tolerating all those difficulty in life, and emotionally being patient as a tolerating all those difficult to understand. Lots of people, lots of time have this kind of a emotion problem to understand how come, lots of people have difficulty to dealing with being compassion. Like they said, how can be compassion toward to the every sentient being? There are lots of evil sentient being. How I can deal with that? I cannot be compassion to the every sentient being. I don't want to be compassion. They don't know how to deal with that. Make sense? So that way you need to learn how to tolerate. So with the skill, with the knowledge, with the understand how to tolerate from the physically and emotionally, all those difficult things. Because when it comes to the suchness, it's really profound. Understand of the suchness is really difficult. Because of that difficulty, sometimes it drives you crazy. So you have to learn how to tolerate on that. I mean, basically, being patient is also give the time. Even you don't understand today, just keep continually. One day you will understand that one. Like Khenpo said this morning, patient doesn't mean just being lazy, just waiting something. You're not waiting something that's going to happen, something, patient, be patient, be patient. Sometimes he used this morning. It's not talking about the waiting something miracle is going to happen. So be patient means that you tolerate all those difficulties, not giving up, not stop, continuing anything. Because when come to the practice of the Dharma with the physically, with the emotionally, it's not easy. It's really challengeable. And of course, above that, lots of time hit the karma. Then more challenge comes. So we have to learn how to be patient, not giving up. Yes, there are lots of difficulties anywhere. Nothing is come easily. Mundane way or spiritual way, especially spiritual way. More you in serious, there are more problem may come in the Dharma. So at that time, if you have enough patience that no matter what, not going to give up this. I think something like that, tolerate mean. Make sense? It's like this morning, Khenpo said, it's not about the talking, just waiting something. That's just lazy. Yeah, so I think this word is they're using here, being tolerant. That's, I think, really good, being patient. So better than just be patient for being harmed by other and such a sadness and what called tiredness of the practice, which is not afraid of the suchness. So this is really good. The perseverance is a perfect joy in the virtues. So perseverance is not just talking about the hard work. Perfect joy in the virtues. Because if you enjoy on the negative, it's called the laziness. Lots of like butcher, work hard. They enjoy their job and work hard. They do many hours work, but it's never counted as a perseverance. It's counted as a part of the laziness. There's three types of laziness. Laziness about being attached to the negative action. So perseverance is specifically in the Dharma. Bodhisattva's practice of one of the 6 paramita is you get joy on the virtue. So how you get the joy? That's the point. You have to get the joy. When you start getting joy, no matter how difficulty, you will pass through. You will what called cross with that. Because when come to the practice Dharma, at the beginning when you join, you maybe have some kind of excitement. Because of that, you will do. But that excitement will run out. It become a boring. But when it become a boring, still not giving up, continually doing, that is called the perseverance. Make sense? So we need that perseverance. How we need to say that is have to start with joy. How we get the joy is by knowing the quality, knowing the benefit. What kind of benefit you will gain through this practice? Then you get joy. Even if it's physically difficult, emotionally difficult, still you get joy because you know what's going to happen. Like when Buddha was under hardship 6 years, emotionally he was really joy. He's not suffering. Physically, really bad condition. When Milarepa was meditating 9 years, only relying on the needle. His physically outlook is a look become like a cannot differential him from the ghost. Those 100, they thought he is a ghost. Even his sister couldn't recognize him, except his voice and his teeth. Other than that, there's no physically figure that is recognizable. He become hardship like that, but he never lost his joy. So one day he was laying down on the roadside. The 3 girls walking down on the street, and they are dressed well, and they said, "What kind of human being? So nobody wish to be born like this." And Milarepa said, "When you see me, you have this kind of sympathy, but when Buddha see me, they get a great joy seeing me." Because Buddha knows how great realized being he is, So that way he had the inner true joy. But outwardly he's look miserable. Even those girls have really sympathy to him. But innerly he's one of the highest joy experiencing person. That's that way he said, when you see me, I'm really miserable and look ugly and all this. When Buddha see me, I'm the greatest one. If you look at his song there. So joys come from the inside by knowing of the benefit, knowing of the quality, and so that way perseverance. So then you will continue, you never give up. So that is perseverance, means the joy in the virtue. Samadhi, which is the mind's one pointed on the virtue. At the beginning, samadhi or Kamabhagya meditation, use any kind of object, long as it is not a negative object. Just focus, learn how to focus on that object continually. That's what the samadhi means. Any object, then slowly you can change that as a Buddha or something else. But just use anything as long as it's a representative of the virtues, like a flower. You cannot concentrate on the weapon, like a gun or something. And it's not become a samadhi, it's become a distraction. Why? Because through that concentration, your negative emotion increase. More your negative emotion increasing, your mind disturbed. But if you concentrate on the virtuous object like flowers, it's only come good thought. It never come negative emotion. Make sense? So that way, why I have to use the object that is not related to the negative? It's because when you're using the object is related to the negative, and your negative emotion will increase. More your negative emotion increasing, your mind is disturbed. Because karma biking is a training, is a basically how to reducing your negative emotion. So that is what is shamatha, mean the calm. How to calm, say, from the distraction. What is the distraction? It's a negative emotion. Right now, our mind is really like those volcano. Yeah, but with a negative emotion. Never stop with the negative emotion. Boiling. One after one. That way we never find the true peace. So karma biting is how to reduce that negative emotion. Really. So that way, in the Shanti, there was a way of Bodhisattva conduct, chapter 8, said, if you have a jealousy because someone is better than you, exchange that person to you, you to that person, and have pride. Your jealousy will reduce. When you pride because you are better than someone, put that person is in mentally put on your position, you put on that person position, start having jealousy. Your pride will reduce. So that's how to, different method to use by lots of different method to basically say reducing your negative emotion. That is what does meditation mean. Because I think lots of people think that meditation is just stop thinking. I mean, you don't need to meditate for that. There are lots of medication for that. Yeah. It really relaxes you. But that is not a solution, So that way, meditation is really mind is calming. How to calm is reducing the negative emotion. Only our mind can calm by reducing negative emotion. So much as we can. I'm not saying is day after you become a Buddhism, you become a saint or Buddha. It's not possible. It takes time. It takes time to a long time. Buddha took 3 years. Our like 10, 20 years, nothing. Practice of 10, 20 years and nothing. Buddha took 3 years to become a Buddha. So you have to give time. I mean, it takes time. Because we're breaking habit, that billion years old habit. It takes time, yeah? That kind of habit breaking. So that way, karma body not immediately come, oh, I'm meditating now, I'm wonderful, I can meditate. That's not going to come. It takes time, actually, yeah? But you have to continue. That is, I think, key. Then wisdom, which is realizing the intrinsic nature of the Dharma. So intrinsic nature of the Dharma means the phenomena. Nature of the phenomena. What is the nature of the phenomena? Buddha summarizing all the phenomena on the 4th sentence. All the nature of phenomena summarizing on the 4th sentence. First said, all compound are impermanent. All defilement are suffering. Phenomena are no self. Nirvana is peace. So Buddha showed that all the nature of the reality is by this 4 simple sentence. Samsara, nirvana, everything is there. So that is what is me realizing the intrinsic nature of them. Practice all kind of virtue, such as 6 paramita and so forth. Regarding the 3rd, repeating the morality of the wildfire sentient beings, and actually, or on one mind stream, one should continually work toward to the accomplishing the benefit of a happiness of a being, common individual, those who have entered the Dharma and establishing in the doctrine, and being who have a aversion and so forth and the Dharma. So I think here, actually, or once a mind stream, this is, I think, really good. What is it? This actually mean that whatever you can help, even just giving like 1 hand of food, that's what is actually, you have to do whatever you can help, actually. But our capacity is limited. We don't have unlimited resource. We don't have unlimited capacity. So that it mentally is, I wish I can do this one. Your aspiration. So that way in our prayer, you look, the aspiration prayer said, all mother sentient beings, limitless aspect, especially those enemies who hate me, obstruct who harm me, and those who create the obstacle to my mind, my path to the liberation and omniscience. May they be experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassable state of the unsurpassable company. So basically saying, you want to have that kind of great what call that determination, yeah. But actually, then there's a three choice. For that purpose, maybe you want to dedicate it from now on until enlightenment, or from now on until death, unless from now on until tomorrow. So that is showing us just do much as you can physically, because if you try to do more than your limit, you will burn out, then you will give up. So it's not good. Make sense? So that way, certain things you should do physically what you can do, and certain things you have an aspiration. I really want to become like that one day. So then if you have this strong aspiration prayer, one day you will become like Buddha Amitabha. When he took the vow, he wasn't that like have those all quality, but he kept the aspiration prayer. When he became a Buddha, he had those all qualities. Medicine Buddha, Vajrasattva, they make the commitment. When they were Bodhisattva, at that time, they don't have all those qualities. They are not capable to actually doing those things, but they have aspiration prayer. So we have two choice. We have two things can do this one. One, physically can do much as whatever we can. Any even small amount of giving like handful of food to anything what you can do based on your capacity. But then mentally you create the greatest, imagination of a wish aspiration to become something. So that way, I think here saying is actually all the one's mind streams. Okay, so this chapter is finished today. Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a quick question on that?
Yeah.
It's just the grammar thing. You're the author, so you might know, but I don't even know. Somewhere you said the all-trusted inspiration. Could that by chance mean altruistic aspiration?
I think Khenpo meant altruistic.
Yeah, I mean the altruistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't follow my pronunciation. Follow my meaning. Otherwise, you will get nothing.
Khenpo, you have one more question.
Oh,
So in the past, you mentioned that Yeshe was not the same as wisdom, and wisdom wasn't exactly a good word for Yeshe.
Yeshe and wisdom is a little bit different.
So is it the same vein that? I guess my question is the word that we use for compassion, not bodhicitta, but compassion, the way it's used in the text. It just seems to me that it's more. There's more to it than. Does it translate the same in Tibetan?
Compassion?
Yeah, the same feeling in Tibetan as it is in English.
So that way I cannot tell how you feel with the English word, because language have a feeling. I'm not that language that way, so I cannot tell that feeling, what kind of feeling comes. But Tibetan, when said compassion, it means that you have a kind of like strong sympathy about that condition, and you wishing them to be free from that unsatisfied condition, from that whatever condition you see.
Okay.
Like when somebody like somebody tell, you know, oh, someone's sick and said, "Nije." It means that, like what you're saying is wishing them to be healed, you know.
I think compassion in Christianity has slightly different meaning than compassion in Buddhism.
Okay.
Compassion in Christianity is you're supposed to feel sorry for this person and help them. But embedded in that is this idea that you're here and they're there, and we're the better people, so we should be helping the less fortunate ones.
Oh,
In Buddhism, the idea is you want to help them because you never know,
Yeah.
someday you might be them. And so there's this idea of equality.
Come, your mother.
so basically, okay, Buddhism is I can give you this simple way. Where's my glasses?
I don't.
Huh? This prayer is a really good for immeasurable. This said, may all mother sentient beings boundless as a sky have happiness and cause of happiness. This is what love means. You wishing them be happy and meet with all the cause of happiness. You know, that's the love. And the compassion is, may they be liberated from the suffering and cause of suffering. That is what compassion means. So you wishing them to be happy, healthy, joyful, that's what does love mean. So then when you wishing to be them to be free from suffering, including yourself. You know, when actually this, I mean, we don't have time to detail, then you have to start a loving kindness with yourself. You know, there's a particular instruction by Gozamba Gompotoji. So so that way, this is how you make yourself, you know. So I think this way is a little bit different than even little bit different than Tibetan, just general people said, oh, Nije, you know. So that's just also a little bit different. But either way, Tibetan or Dharma, in here, when he said here, according to the Dharma, yes, because Tibetan culture is unrelated, not related to our practice, because that is one area's culture. It doesn't matter what they, you know, that's environment is different. Time is different. But according to the Dharma, love means that wishing them to be happy. Compassion means that wishing them be free from suffering. So that is to.
So in English, it's kind of like, and my understanding is different than other people's, but it's kind of like seeing someone hurt makes me hurt. And that's not the same thing as we're talking about in Buddhism, right?
That's empathy.
I think that is a part of that. When you're seeing someone hurt, you feel hurt, you see, because it's come from the care, come from the love. So that way I said, you know, you're not going to feel anything when you see someone suffering if you don't have a love. Make sense? So when you are truly love, then you're not going to distinguish actually you and other. You know, you can feel them as a you. So that is what is it later become equanimity mean. Yeah. That's a more like a really deep emotion become.